The Cabuliwalah, adapted from a story by Rabindranath Tagore. Little Minnie was 5 years old and she was a great chatterbox. She simply could not live without chattering all the time. Her mother was often worried about this constant talking and tried to hush her. But a quiet Minnie was an unnatural Minnie. My own conversation with her was always very lively. One day, Minnie came bursting into my study. I was busy writing my new novel. My little Minnie stole into the room and put her hand into mine and said, "Father, Ram Dayal, the doorkeeper, calls a crow a crow. He doesn't know anything, does he?" Before I could explain the difference in languages and dialects to her, she was off again. "What do you think, Father? Bhola says there is an elephant in the clouds blowing water out of its trunk, and that is why it rains." While I was thinking of a reply, off she went again. "Father, what relation is mother to you?" At this, I had to put on a grave face, and I said, "Go and play, Minnie. I am busy." Minnie was playing under my table, and I was still busy writing the 17th chapter of my novel. Suddenly, Minnie ran to the window crying, "Oh, Cabuliwalah! Oh, Cabuliwalah!" Minnie called the Cabuliwalah, and when he looked up at her, she ran to me in terror. She had a blind belief that Cabuliwalahs caught children and put them into their sacks and took them away. The Cabuliwalah came to our house, and I made Minnie come out and meet him. She soon lost her fear of him, and it was a joy to watch the big, bearded Pathan talking tenderly to the little 5-year-old. The Cabuliwalah was now a daily visitor to our house. Minnie lost her fear of the big gentleman, and they would sit and chat for hours and crack jokes with each other. "Cabuliwalah, oh Cabuliwalah, what have you got in your bag?" Minnie would ask. "An elephant," answered the Cabuliwalah, and the two of them would go into shouts of laughter. Once a year, Rahman, for that was the Cabuliwalah's name, would go back to his own country. He would first collect all the money that people owed him before he left. Although he was busy, Rahman always found time to visit little Minnie. One day, there was a terrible uproar in the street. Rahman had stabbed a man who owed him money. He was sentenced to many years in prison. Time passed, and Minnie forgot her old friend, the Cabuliwalah. She was growing up into a maiden. We made arrangements for Minnie's wedding. Minnie was getting married that night. As I sat in my study, a man came up and saluted me respectfully. At first, I did not recognize him. I then saw that it was old Rahman, the Cabuliwalah. I told him that there were ceremonies going on and that he should come on another day. He was about to leave when he turned around and said, "May I see the little one, sir?" He still thought of Minnie as a little girl running to him and calling, "Cabuliwalah! Oh, Cabuliwalah!" He thought they would talk and laugh as they had long ago. I told him once more that there were ceremonies. He then gave me a small packet of dried raisins, nuts, and almonds for Minnie and said, "Give these to the little one. I, too, have a little one like her, and I think of her and bring you these fruits." Tears rolled down from my eyes. I forgot that he was a poor Cabuliwalah. He was also a father. I called Minnie, and she came out dressed in all her finery. The Cabuliwalah was stunned. He had expected a little girl, and instead, here was a grown maiden. He suddenly realized that his own daughter would have grown up too. I took out some money and gave it to him and said, "Go and see your daughter, Rahman, and may you have happiness." I had to cut down the expenses for the wedding. We could not afford the military band or the electric lights, but to me, the feast was all the brighter because of the thought that in a distant land, a long-lost father had again met his only child.